all June. Pretty big.
Oh, were you recording your screen, or should I do that as well?
I am not so far. If you can't, well, isn't it? Is it recording to YouTube or no?
Yeah, but YouTube makes you wait like hours before you can download it, so I'll double up on it.
All right. So yeah. Anyways, we have these additional flows that we are seeing. Amazon 202.5 expiring in about a little under a month. May 16. Microsoft 430 calls. Pretty big volume. I wouldn't like this. Yes, it's like 12 million. It's a lot of volume. But like, don't go crazy. Because I've seen this, seen similarly sized flows before that just get closed out for a loss. So I mean, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, but not something to take a mortgage out on. We'll say. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Boom. Yep, just posting join the stream in the chat a couple more times. All right. So anyways, feel free to post in the chat stuff you guys notice, stuff you guys are curious about. We were hoping to have Slylust talk about maybe some Theta Gang, but he may or may not be having some technical difficulties now.
I can talk. It's just going to be on the phone, and I can't stream on the computer. That's the only problem.
All right, so maybe we'll wait till next time to sort that out. Perhaps it's on us to not troubleshoot it like 10 minutes before we're trying to go live.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Procrastination's the name of the game.
Yeah, something for you guys to look forward to, perhaps next time. So, anyways, I think we have a big earnings tonight as well, right? Probably. We got Google, T-Mobile, Guild, Intel. Not nearly as big as I thought. I suppose next week is probably very big. Yeah, next week we got like Domino's, Microsoft, Facebook, Qualcomm, McDonald's, Apple, Amazon. 33% of the Nasdaq and 36% of the S&P. So quite a lot of action next week. Anyways, Amazon's going higher. Interested in these. Seems to be some more volume. When was earnings again? Earnings was May 1. Implied move by then. So these are slightly higher. See here, we got a comment. One thing I'm missing is that the earnings calendar page since last earnings percentage change isn't updated immediately, so it's difficult to see market reactions. Drop a pic if you can, just for the sake of making sure we're on the same page here.
I wish Discord would let me pop the chat out without it being right on the screen share screen.
What's today? Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Which chat? YouTube or Discord? So we are 11.4% off highs. Could be worse. Feels worse, maybe. Does it? I don't know. Jay Bleezy, what was that snap flow that you posted the other day? Post the contract. I forget what it was. Maybe I have it here. Maybe I don't. I don't. 11C for 21. Well, yeah, I mean, when it's $19 and then it goes to $27, I mean, it's quote unquote only $8, but that's a pretty big gain. We're talking about percentage. Did that have earnings last night, or what's the deal?
Especially with that size. The earnings is scheduled for April 29th.
Huh. Okay. Ooh, Amazon is still going. Where is it? Oh, I can't see.
If you're not using some of those tabs, closing them will help the video quality as well.
All right, I can do that for you. Let me actually close like some of the 50 tabs I have going off screen too. That'll probably help you, right?
Yeah, it eats up your CPU on
Yeah.
Chrome specifically. And your RAM.
I think the site is also kind of like memory intensive too,
for sure.
to begin with. All
But
right.
it looks good now.
I've closed a bunch of stuff. All right. Let me get situated here. What do we got going on here? All right. Actually, so since I closed all that shit on the other screen, we'll just open up a couple more things here. All right. Post some stuff in the chat. Help me out. Where are my M&Ms? Did I leave them? Oh, no. Oh. Myrna looks like a big roll down. Yeah, so like not that interesting. I mean, some people might see just this line. And if you see just this line, it might be interesting. But if you look back, it might not be much. And you see a lot of that stuff all the time. Here's probably another example. Right? All these multi-leg trades they could be something, but like who knows, This one's kind of hard to tell immediately what's going on. Jignesh has posted a contract. Let's peep this. What do we got here? Copy text. Oops. Let's
Is that a fire alarm?
turn that off. All right, so we got Lumen, 4C, June. Presumably earnings soon. Yeah, May 1. Yeah, I mean, I guess it looks like an open, buy it open, perhaps.
A lot of repeat action there. Consistent fills at the 27 and 28.
What do they do? Lumen? What does Lumen do again?
Is that luminosity? Lumen Technologies.
Bleezy has pointed out another contract. We had the Snap July.
Their network servicing company.
Snap July. Can I see it here? 10p indeed. Let's see if we just what else we can see. Yeah, I mean 11p same expiration as well. Market going higher, I believe. Oh yeah. Let's see here. Crawfish has posted the Lumen. Never mind, it's the same contract. Marty Bird posts MCHP. The MCHP, what did you post? The May 950? May 950s. Yep, because we got this going on right here.
Microchip Technology Incorporated, they're up 10% today almost.
Yep. Looks like a big opening spread here, but I mean, it's really not for that much. What else we got in the chat here? Merck. What else? What's we got from Merck? The Merck 80. So it looks like we have like a put spread on the 75-70 since they're both high multi-leg. Well, they're actually, let's actually just take a look here because there might be. Let's not make any assumptions. All right, so for sure those are multi-leg. So let's just look at the Merck. Okay. So this is all Merck trades. $25,000 and up for today. So we have opening flow on both the 70 and the 75 put for May, but also on the 80 for June. 80 for June, getting some more here. Oh, it's June 2027. Okay. Yeah, June 2027. What is this again? This is MERCK Merck. Yeah, okay. So we got that going on. What else? Lawless has posted some sort of Google two-legger. So I mean, like as with any other kinds of flow, the two-leggers are as oftenly misread as being like the other direction. Anecdotally, I don't actually know for certain, but it just feels like it just feels like, I don't know. It's hard to read those. Ranger posts ANET May 9. I think I saw this a little bit ago as well. ANET May 9. Some negative put action to go along with it. So I guess it's from these. But, however, there is more open interest in volume, so we can't immediately know for certain that they're opening. Which is why net premium requires a little bit of digging. Maybe Stoner can pull up the recent video thing that he made regarding that. Just a quick topic.
The volume OI relationship.
Well, it's about like reading net premium. So, like, if we look at this at face value, we might think that they're long call, short put, but like
we got a couple on that. I'll drop them both in the chat.
Yep. Thank you. You guys did not notice, you can now see both all premiums as well as out of the money premiums. at the same time. I think there are a few kinks that still need to be worked out. I think one of the lines might not update live, and also, like if I refresh the page, I don't think it remembers. Maybe they fixed it. No, not yet. So it will remember your settings soon. Marty Bird posts MMSI something something. Let's check it out.
Love me some something something.
The 100 Cs. Yeah, it doesn't really get much volume ever. Kind of a widespread though. Like it is like much closer to the ask than the bid, but a widespread nonetheless. Oh, and we had some activity before it. Let's see. How much before it? So like in the minute before. Who knows? Who knows?
Ticker reminds me of that South Park character, Mimsy.
Never heard of this one before.
Me neither.
Merit Medical.
Another biotech randomosity. They have earnings today.
Tiger, we got some Chinese tech stuff. I guess Chinese tech is pretty tied to everything else that's going on.
The ZS is up bigly today too. But I feel like kind of everything is. We're up like almost 400 points on the NASDAQ. We're up 75 points on ES right now. So I kind of suspect, unless we got some fun little outliers, a lot of stuff's going to be up handsomely today.
What do we got for? Let's do this here. President's schedule kind of kicks off in 40 minutes here. Not that really means anything. He's already tweeted. Not tweeted, Truth socialed quite a bit.
Amidst some suspect buys.
Jurassic Zombie asks, can we check AbbVie flow? Let's take a look. Probably all four of these are connected if I had to guess. I mean, if it's earnings, then who knows? Indeed. It's earnings. Hard to tell if this is a buy or both being opened. Wide spreads as well, pretty much mid-ish fill. 65 is basically in the middle of these two, but it's like one tick closer to the bid, I guess. Yeah, 12 away versus 13 away. So. Oops.
Folks in the YouTube chat, if you guys got any questions too, feel free to drop them. You got us for a bit here, so any questions about the platform, the tools, etc., shoot them.
Give me 10 seconds. I'll be right back.
Sure. While he does that, I will pop open. I guess the Discord can't see this. That's my bad.
I'm back.
All right, never mind. I was just going to real quick for the YouTube folks, since I'm not sharing the Discord. We're floating between heavy negative gex and heavy positive gex. If one of these breaks, my hypothesis says we'll have a swift move in that direction. I'm leaning toward that 5450 just because we're in a trend up, pretty firm trend up. Unless we get a strong reversal off of this negative gex, my suspicion is it'll keep doing what it's been doing all day and follow that trend. Those of you who are following the Periscope strat, that will be up and running again next week. I did an oopsie. Pattern day trade, oopsie. Forgot it was on the margin account.
All right, so we got a question here. When to use the flow feed versus the options screener? This is a pretty good question. So I guess we should just start by going over what like the difference is between the two. So I mean, there's a variety of feeds, right? So there's like the flow feed is the feed of every single transaction, right? And from the flow feed, when you have every single transaction, then you can do something like render, the option contract chart. You can do something like render the net premium chart, right? Because we have every transaction, we can render a chart based on that data, right? So now the option screener, so where the flow feed is every individual transaction, the option screener is every individual contract. So I guess the flow feed is like a kind of like a real time, like you're seeing the transactions as they take place. And it's not to say that the screener isn't in real time. The screener is in real time. It's just that you're seeing like an aggregation of all the activity that's going on. So like they operate in kind of a similar, like, so let's just say, for the flow feed, I'm going to put on like this default ask flow filter. If I just sit on this, I can see stuff that's coming in as it comes in, right? With the screener, like I can come here and I can hone in on specifically, stuff that I want to see. So like let's just build a screener that will help us find stuff that kind of mimics the flow feed. And before we do that real quick, so like what I think didn't we have a discussion about this? I think wasn't your most recent video
Yeah. The very last stream we talked about this. So the last two videos are on this exact topic with comparisons between the feed and the screener. Let me real quick before you continue, let me just drop those videos in the chat since it ruins it ruins my feed because I can't.
No, we can still go over it. So
yeah, for sure.
Valid.
I just wanted to drop the link quick. Here's part 1 and part.
Actually, let's kill like a few birds with one stone, because since a lot of people have been asking, how to set an alert or how to find stuff that looks like, the single SPY candle, which not necessarily SPY, but the single large candle, the 10,000 volume to 3,000 open interest, the obvious opening activity candle, which many people have seen lately. We've seen it on this SPY whale here and then here. So I guess we can talk about finding stuff like that. And if you guys are in the Discord, I know some of you guys are watching this on YouTube, but if you're in the Discord, in the subscriber channels, in the options and market alert section, we have those like auto posting channels. In the live options flow section, those alerts are created. If you click on any of those contracts, let me see if we can see those. All right. Guess we can't look at those right now, but if you look at any of those, they're gonna pretty much look all the alerts in there. They're gonna look very similar. It's just gonna be like kind of a singular instance of volume, right? So let me I'll just drop a link to that channel for those in the Discord right now. Let me just grab a random contract. So that live options flow channel, right? All of those contracts, it's probably gonna be like a singular instance of volume. Let's see if I search, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm doing this off screen, but if I search like Amazon in that channel, it's very likely that this 202.5, yep. So this 202.5 that we're looking at right here, it meets, some very basic criteria of stuff that we're looking for. Now, not everything in the channel is gonna hit or miss, right? So there's gonna be winners, there's gonna be losers, but these are just like it helps you just identify the large single instances of activity that we're looking for. So how to find those, or how to set an alert for those. So you're gonna have to have like at least like a slight understanding of some basic theory, right? So like, for example, let me just pause the flow feed right here. So this CX trade, don't worry about the contract or the ticker. Just look at some of the characteristics here. So you have like a 5,000 size trade here. The daily volume is 5,048, and this 5,048 value includes 5,000. So prior to this 5,000 trade, there was 48 volume for the day. So we know that this 5,000 trade is 100% an opening trade, given that there's only 171 volume and only 48 volume prior, or 171 open interest and 48 volume prior. So this type of this may have even tripped in the channel. Maybe it didn't, depending on there might be some criteria that didn't meet. But anyways, so that's kind of the idea, right? So just like a thinking exercise, this 5,000 trade like has to be an opening trade. So I guess what people want to do is to make an alert for this. So now I guess the issue is that you can't make an alert for an individual trade. I guess that's one regrettable limitation on the site. But what you can do is I can create an alert to pretty much do that, right? So the interval flow feed. So let me just rewind real quick. So remember how I mentioned that the flow feed itself is the raw transaction feed of every transaction. So the interval feed is an aggregation of all those. So taking all of that raw data, we now package it into 5-minute windows, right? So let's, for example, let's build out a filter. So in a 5-minute window, show me contracts in which the interval, the 5-minute window, has, let's say, 1,000 volume. Let's say 75% of all activity was at or closer to the ask. Let's put the interval volume is greater than the open interest. Let's put a minimum amount of money involved being, we'll say like 100K. We'll cap the multi-leg percentage at 20, just to help weed out some of the multi-leg activity. So let's just like click around. I'll just click around at some of these contracts here. So pretty much you can see, we see like the large candles, right? So what was the filter again? The filter is looking for every instance in which in the 5-minute period there was at least 1,000 volume in which that volume is greater than the existing open interest. Minimum of 75% ask activity, which you can see here. This is the interval bid-ask breakdown. So in the 5-minute period, let's pause here. So I guess we'll just read how you would read the feed, right? So in the period in the current period that we're in, so we're in this 11:30 to 11:35 window, but so far, this contract has seen 1,000 volume, 100% of it at or closer to the ask. Actually, we might have a bug here. It looks like we have a bug because it does not meet the criteria because there's too much multi-leg percentage here. So it looks like we have a bug. Let me make a note of that real quick. Actually, Nick, can you write that down real quick?
Yeah.
So actually, that's a bug. So just pretend you didn't see that. But so any of these ones you pretty much see. So I guess this one doesn't, because while the interval does have 5,000, or it does have more volume than open interest, there's so much more volume throughout the day that this one, I guess you could exclude this one. You'll probably see that on a lot of these ETFs. So that's just like kind of the filters they're not gonna eliminate everything that's not useful, right? So for instance, so this IWM right here, so from the 10:05 to 10:10 window, 10:05 to 10:10, yeah, so we have this big stick, which was at the time greater than the open interest, but like as you can see now, it ended up being not that interesting. So, that'll happen, unfortunately. So like, for example, we have this Microsoft flow that we saw earlier. So now I guess we'll hide ETFs, indices. So this type of feed, you can create an alert directly for every type of result that hits this feed. So we need to fix this bug, but you can make an alert from here. So if you just click this alert button, I'll drop the link to this in the chat right now. So this feed itself can be created an alert. You just click this button, create an alert. You make the title. I'll title it. What's today? April 24 stream interval. Ask, whatever. Create alert. I don't know why this is busted, but so now, presumably, if my app is set up correctly, I'll start getting those. Let me just keep clicking around so we can see. Yeah, I mean, so many of the contracts that you guys have shouted out, I can see them here. So like, Snap, someone mentioned those. Merck right here. Microsoft we mentioned here. Merck again. Microsoft again. ANET. ARM. Lumen. MCHP. So I mean, most people are generally using the same settings. So that's one way you can get quote unquote alerted. Now, I mean, I've hidden. You might have to. So I guess let me turn. So obviously, SPY is an ETF. SPX is an indices. So you would have to have these on. But like we've gone through, you might have to tweak. You probably have to tweak some of this to for those instances. Like so for example, like when we were looking at just stocks, right? Most of them were like the single candle that like, oh cool, okay, here's a single candle, single candle, single candle. But if I like turn on something like this, yes, there's still there are the candles that we're looking for, but there's so much other volume going on throughout the day that like it's not clearly obvious that this specific transaction was opening. So you might have to tweak it. So like one way we could tweak it would be like, what could we do? So look, let's just look at that. We can look at that one SPX trade. So SPXW 5800. So like this trade was 11,000 plus volume, or the candle was at least. Who knows what the trade itself was. So if we presume, yeah. So I mean, it was actually, yeah, it was exactly a 10,000 size trade here. So in this 1 second span, which would also be encompassed by the 5-minute interval, right? So like, let's see here. When was that? That was on the 22nd. So let's go back to the 22nd. Let's just reset everything here. Let's go back to the 22nd. So like, so I'm just gonna put in some stuff to find specifically that trade. Now, obviously, if you're reverse engineering a filter, it's easy to find it after the fact, right? So like, how much premium was that? So like, that's like at least 1 million, right? So type in like 1 million. I guess we'll just type in SPXW. What else was there? So that was obviously more volume than open interest. Say 5K volume in that interval. Yep, so here it is right here. So I mean, like, you can make, so like, you know, so this filter that specifically found, you know, this trade that looks pretty good, like, what else did it produce? It also produced, I guess same. This was the same expiration. It also produced something like this, which doesn't look like it did anything. Also this, which also looks like it didn't do anything, right? So, I guess we could widen. You know, you can widen the filters to find other stuff, but you have to filter it for yourself. Which is why, like, you know, just setting and forgetting, just so you can create a filter, but like, you can be alerted to everything in the filter, but not everything is going to be obviously useful. So I would make sure you guys are also using your own eyes as a filter. So that's one way to create an alert. I mean, it's like a long process ish, but it's only really long. Like, once you understand like the theory, I guess, it's a little bit easier. Now, I guess we could like, well, I mean, there are some preset alerts. Let me see why that page wasn't working right. I get a ticket for this one.
That spot where you had Flow sprung a leak, was that on custom alerts?
Yeah.
Mine works fine.
That's weird. All right. Well, I made a mention of it. So like, I guess going back to people that want to get pinged about it, like, yes, you can get pinged, but you know, like, let's just say I have pings for all these, right? If I'm on the desktop, I can at least click into it, look around, maybe do a little bit more research. What is ZBH? Biomet healthcare something. But anyways, was this a closing trade here, perhaps? So this one might be a closing trade. Same with this one. I don't know what filter I'm using here. All right, I need to mute whoever that is.
I didn't even hear anything.
I hear like a little baby or something. All right. All right, so let's take a look at the tide. What's it up to? So I guess it's green for now, barring, you know, whatever kind of news comes out. The chat is dried up. You guys need to say some stuff.
Luis Julian wants to see if there's anything spicy or significant for AMD. AMD is kind of one of those that sometimes just gets flurries of flow, especially on a trend day. So I'm curious if there are any outliers as well.
Okay, so I guess I'll answer the question in like kind of a roundabout way, but it'll be useful, right? So like, when someone asks, you know, what's the flow on XYZ look like? Okay, so when someone asks what's the flow in XYZ look like, what's some stuff that I'll do, right? So that's like a very vague question. You're really just asking me, is it going to go up or down, right? That's pretty much what you're asking. But like, let's try and find some information to like to help support. You know, is it going to go up or down? Let's find out, right? So what would I do? So let's just go to AMD. I guess it's a little bit trickier because AMD just as a big cap ticker, it'll have just more flow that makes it harder to read. But what's one thing I can do? One thing I can do is, I guess the first thing I would do, or maybe not the first thing, in no particular order, let's just say, right? The one thing you can do is look at like the net premium chart, right? So the net premium chart is a bird's eye view of what kind of options activity is taking place today. So we see that it looks fairly bullish today, right? Green line is higher than red line, right? Green line is positive, red line is negative. So presumably, not presumably, so we know for certain that there is a net amount of ask side call activity as compared to bid side activity, and there's a net amount of bid side put activity, right? So there's more bid side puts than ask side puts. There's more ask side calls than bid side calls. So it looks relatively bullish, right? So that's just one look at it. Another way to do it would be to so let me rewind here. So while it looks bullish, it's like you need to look for specific contracts. So like, why does it look this way? And in the case of AMD, like I just mentioned a second ago, there's going to be a lot of activity. So it's going to be kind of hard to find specific contracts that are causing it one way or the other. One contract that just kind of jumps out to me real quick here, and is this one perhaps? Okay, so what I saw real quick here, my eyes jumped to this real quick because what I did was first I just wanted to see a large premium trade that also had like a skew, a bid or ask side skew. So my eyes just landed on this one right here. So close to 90% of all $959,000 for this particular contract, which was single leg, were at or close to the ask. So this trade of almost $1 million premium had a pretty stark impact on the overall net premium for this ticker, right? So I can see that this stuff that took place right here. So this is a $400,000 candle. This was a $413,000 candle. So like these took place at 9:55 to 10:05ish. So like from here to here, yeah, I mean like that's about it. So I've identified what caused the run from like here to here. It's this specific contract. So that kind of helps me. That's some context, right? So we know, or what else can we talk about this contract? What else do we know about this contract, right? So not only was this contract responsible for this jump, we can also see that this contract meets some of that criteria that we were looking for earlier, right? A higher than open interest, or more volume than open interest, and not by just like a small amount. This is more than enough volume than open interest to, I guess, start look interesting. Obviously, there's quite a bit of money in here as well. So I mean, this checks a couple boxes, right? This let me check off the Discord. Does this AMD come up if I just search AMD? AMD. So I guess not. Maybe it doesn't meet some of the volume criteria that we have set, which is fine. But I mean, like characteristically, this is something that could be interesting, right? But just in the interest of seeing potentially what other contracts might easily be able to, we can easily identify as potentially causing some kind of impact. I'll just toggle volume is greater than open interest. I can see that there aren't that many. So like this AMD 92p for 400K. This was in the morning. So this was like, so this right here caused some of this right here. What else do we have here? So we have the AMD 125. 2027. So this was a 400K candle at like 1045-ish. Or 1040 to 1045. So that was probably, that's this jump right here. So we've identified a couple of the reasons why there's a jump. Now you have to ask yourself, okay, is this AMD 125 2027 position something that I'm interested in necessarily? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it's kind of very far away. Over 2 years away, almost 3 years away. And what was the other one that we looked at? The other one was the 9259. So I mean, so this is pretty much the only contract really that we can clearly see is as being interesting in AMD. So while the overall AMD picture looks pretty bullish, like this is really the only flow that we've seen. This is the only one that we've really seen. So what else? What else could we do? So like if I just go to like a generic. Not generic, but if I go to like one of the preset filters, I could just type in, maybe I can type in AMD, see what comes up. So nothing too interesting. Yeah, I mean, let's see. So like if someone asked, what's the flow on Lumen? That was one of the tickers that someone had mentioned, right? So like maybe Lumen's a better thought exercise. So I type in Lumen here. I see, whoa, like, what? So don't just, right? So I mean, obviously this big spike in green. Ooh, that looks interesting, right? Like let's look into it. What could have caused this spike in green? What are some different ways that you can look into it? On a ticker like this, that's going to be probably like generally low volume. If I just type in Lumen, if I just look at the Lumen options activity, I could probably immediately tell, right? So if you look here, it's probably this one right here, right? So we've already looked at this one before. So let me pull it up. So we see the Lumen 4C at some time right before 11. So it lines up. How much did it go up? This is like a 200-ish premium thing. Lo and behold, it goes up 200K premium. So we've identified this as being this. So here's some context, right? Another one that we looked at today was what, like MHK, I think. Now, keep in mind that this chart, it doesn't know if anything is a buy or a sell, right? It doesn't know that. It just knows if something is filled at the ask or at the bid, or close to the ask or close to the bid. That's the only thing that this chart knows. So in this case, I guess it's not as interesting as the other one. I guess it's not as clearly interesting. I mean, there's barely any premium going on here. Was it MHK? Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't MHK. But yeah, I mean, that's generally how you might look at it. So another one, I think is like Palantir. I think had maybe some stuff that we could look at. So Palantir, looking pretty similar look, right? There's positive net call premium, negative net put premium. So I'll just do the same thing. Actually, let me rewind here. So if we go back to Lumen real quick. So we see the big spike, right? So another way we can investigate the spike. So the one way is we just look at the options chain and just see what it shows us. And in this case, this one sticks out like a sore thumb. Another way is we just go to the flow feed. I type in Lumen. Depending on the ticker, you might need to do a higher value, but for this one, I'll just do 5K, and immediately there's only 4 transactions today that were over $5,000. We can see all of them right here, so we've just immediately can see that this is the one. So might be a little bit harder for Palantir. Let's see here. So Palantir probably gonna have to use a value greater than 5K. Let's try like 25K. That might be a little bit too low. Try like 100K maybe. So in this case, just like looking at the feed itself, not immediately useful. I mean, we might have some spread action here. What is this, like some 105, 110 spreads? Uh, uh, uh. Mm. The size here, 2600 size. Could be opening. Could be a 105, 110 call spread, right? Is that what everyone else is seeing? Maybe.
Looks like it to me.
This thing has earnings before the expiration as well. All right, so the feed. All right, so actually, this is kind of. Hold on. So, what will the net premium effect of this one be? So if this candle is 2.2 mil and this one is 1.7 mil, so the net effect of this would be like 500k, and this was at 1145. So we should see like a 500k ish. Well, actually, we not necessarily, because like there's other activity that's going on, right? This trade isn't the only trade that's going on, but we might see a large increase in the net. Okay, so I guess we didn't because there was other activity going on. Hold on, 1145, 1145. Yeah, I mean it jumped right here. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of other activity in the grand scheme of things. 500k isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. So since the feed itself isn't immediately useful, like what Palantir contracts might be useful? So like one of the first things we'll do is just volume is greater than open interest, right? Pretty simple. Let's look for contracts that have at least 1,000 volume. Let's look for contracts that have traded at least $100,000. Let's look for contract in which there is less than 20% multi-leg activity. What else can we do? So if let's look for contracts in which there is a bid or ask size skew of at least 70%. So that's really it. Not a whole lot. Maybe we can tone this down to 55. Anything there if we do that? So not a whole lot. I mean, we can see a lot of the reason why there's negative put volume or negative put premium. The 109 Ps for next week, 1.4 mil premium, almost all of it at the bid. Right around 10 o'clock. So that's some of this right here. Let's see. 600k-ish here. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, there's different ways to see what kind of contracts might meet your criteria. But I mean, this is all just about I don't know, looking up as much data as possible to try and help you make a good decision. Marty, I just plugged that link into my my end, but nothing comes up on that. I don't know what's there. Wonder why. Hold on, let me see. Oh, never mind. I see this DFS here. Hard to say. The spread is so wide. This is what he's pointing out here. Probably sells, maybe. The bid ask.
I really hate those zeroed out bid ask spreads. I would lean towards sells in this kind of situation, but at the same time, they could have just been, spamming fill prices and limit orders to try to get a fill with that wide of a spread. But the one that does have a bid ask, it filled right at the bid, I guess.
Yeah, so who knows? for our purposes. But someone who just looks at it might think, "Oh shit! Like this thing just jumped. Could be bearish." And it could be, but like for our purposes, I just think it's nothing for us. Nothing that we can really make any sense of. So like, yes, it it happens to coincide with a dip, but I don't think it has anything to do with that. Let's see here. JT has posted a SoFi trade. Let's take a look. SoFi, the May 16, 13.5s. Let's see what the question is. Overlaps earnings. This is a continuation of a roll from yesterday. So this could potentially be an open, and then this could be them closing and rolling into something else. Or this could be something new entirely, which potentially could be more likely. Yeah, I think it potentially unrelated to yesterday. While we're on the topic of SoFi, there was like this big 13C same expiration from the other day. Filled at 39, trading as high as 72 today. Went as high as 100%, just for a tick somewhere around here, I guess. The yellow line is showing the average fill. So, but we have highs of 78 yesterday. So somewhere here, some 78 fills probably. It is noon. So I think we've been on here for about an hour or so.
Give or take.
Just
We hit some good shit, I think.
Yeah, it was all right.
We got a little interval flow blurb.
Bug here. Yeah, guys, if you have any last minute questions, feel free. I want you guys to make sure you guys feel like you got your money's worth. Sitting here, listen to me blurb.
Someone in the YouTube chat did want more Gex breakdowns. I'm working on a video for that as well. Just another one on Periscope strategies. It'd be kind of too short term to go through a full breakdown of Gex, the theories behind it, etc. now, since we've already been on for an hour. But in the YouTube chat, I did drop 2 videos that give full breakdowns of gamma exposure and the general concepts therein and how it's utilized by a lot of traders. I'll drop it in the Discord chat as well, the Periscope video specifically. B2 says we need more Periscope vids and that scroll bar back. So on the extended version of Gex below, the scroll bar is available to see further strikes. There's also a clickable zoom in, zoom out that'll show more strikes as well. Currently, we don't have a direct scroll bar on Periscope itself because the y-axes of the Gex levels and the chart next to it are tied. That way you can see the current Gex level, etc. I'm not seeing anything new in the YouTube chat either. So if anybody has any last second questions, hit us with it. Otherwise, we'll probably head out and pick this up with you guys again next week.
Some Uber flow. What caused that drop in Uber? So in the case of Uber, this negative put premium here seems to be from this. Overlaps earnings, so I guess this is someone shorting the 69p. And then didn't we just see some call flow as well? Yeah, some mixed bid and ask flow, but opening activity for sure, 100%. Let's see, we have a question for TMC. I saw that. Let's look at this real quick. Yeah, so I guess TMC. I don't care about this contract specifically. I'm just using this to look at this right here. So options activity, it's certainly picked up as of late. So 17 times normal, almost 8 times normal, 1.7, 2.6. What was the news here? I mean, this is obviously a very news sensitive thing. Let's see here. Hello, my name says Deep Sea Mining executive order being signed today. Very good. Is this someone selling? What's going on here? Those lines up pretty nicely. Maybe not. So what? So like, if we just look at the net flow chart, we can remember, like I've gone over several times in this stream, how we can't just trust these jumps, right? It's best to look into what caused it, and we do see many days where, at face value, it seems like, oh, maybe there's some call buying going on here. So let's pick a random day. I guess let's look at what day is this one? This one was the 14th of April. So like on the 14th of April, what was going on? What were they trading on TMC? TMC, can I see the 14th? Yes, I can. So this is the flow on the 14th. Let's see. I don't want to see anything that's too low premium. But like, what's low premium for this ticker? This ticker, it's not like a Microsoft where like, $1 million is like a medium-sized trade. So maybe we'll do like 10K. I mean, that's like kind of small, but whatever. So I guess we'll just look at the biggest premium trades here. So we have like the 3C 516 on the 14th with a pretty decent bit of increased open interest the next session. So that was these guys right here. What else was on the 14th? Well, I guess this one's already expired, so this one doesn't really help us. So we got this pretty big flow on the 14th on the 2.5C. However, high multi-leg percentage, which isn't a bad thing. Let's just look into it and see what we see here. So perhaps it's this guy. So perhaps some rolling of the 2.5C 417s into the 2.5C maze. What day was that again? On the 14th. So maybe some of these guys getting closed in favor of something here. Hard to say. So it's, and I know that I know there's a lot of people that are in it. I'm not so certain that like the options flow has been there though. Like certainly we see this, but like on this day, I'm not really seeing anything that stands out immediately. I mean, let's see what happened on the 17th. I mean, like there's been so much inside stuff going on other stuff, so I mean, who knows? This is the now we're looking for the 17th, right? Yeah, so the 17th, the 3C. Cross trade here, so not that interested in that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I can't put it past anyone. I can't put it past it there being inside activity just because, like, it seems like there's a slight uptick in inside activity as of late. Who knows? Just anecdotally. But yeah, I don't know. TMC, impressive move to say the least. Uber 78 next week's getting some play as well. There was what was it, like the Uber like 72.80 spread from the other day? There was this spread. Looks like it's still open. The 70.80 spread, but there's more activity in here, so who knows? What was this one? I think this was a short put Uber, I think. Yeah, so back in May, or not May, March 12th, March 14th, pretty high volumes, single leg volumes, big money, 1 mil, 437,000. Open interest increases the following session. I believed these were short puts. So $93 collected, $70 collected, last trade 15. Uber 6DP 516. Do we think these were short too? Maybe. The big fill on 310. So that's this guy right here. If we look at the feed itself, hard to say because the spread, right? Yes, it's closer to the ask, but it's like kind of midish. So I mean, these could have been short puts. They could have been long puts. I think they were probably short puts. Where are they? Here. Who knows? All right. It's about lunchtime, isn't it?
Nom nom nom.
Any last cues in the YouTube chat before I turn this off?
Just some of the general ones that I have provided links for in the chat. So if you're here live, I see a couple of the basic questions. Those links, if you scroll up, will answer those for you. And definitely check out the site guides and the education playlists on the channel. Shitload of information in there, all the way down to the very basics of terminology and options trading, to how to set up your feeds, your screeners, your filters, custom alerts, breakdowns of each feature on the site, explaining how they work and what they do, etc. So those two channels are crucial if you're new. So definitely check those out.
Yep. Check out the one last thing I'll plug is the change log before you guys leave. Or before we leave, check out the change log. And more stuff is coming as we speak. Yeah, all right. I think that'll be it.
Updates,
Thanks
baby.
for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take care, guys. See y'all next week.